Welcome to Light Novel Sound, where we bring stories to life. Get ready for an epic journey through Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, a story filled with action, mystery, and mind-blowing twists. A huge thank you to Sing-Shong for crafting this incredible story. If you enjoy this audiobook, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, sit back, relax, and let's begin. Chapter 51, Episode 11, Night of the Prophets, 3. I was in a deep sleep. It was a long-awaited good night's sleep. The effect of the deep sleep has completely restored mental power. Some of your exclusive skills have been updated. I checked my clock and saw that it was already 4 p.m. Once Dongmyo Station and the surroundings areas were occupied last night, the accumulated fatigue settled firmly on me. Currently occupied, Chungmuro, Main Base, Myeongdong, Dongdaemun History and Culture Park, Dongdaemun, Dongmyo, Sindang Station, Cheonggu Station, Yaksu Station, Sinseoldong Station. Thanks to eating the Dongmyo group, I now had 9 stations. Now I just needed one more and the King's Road scenario would be over. Just a bit more and I could achieve one of the key goals of the beginning scenarios, King of No Killing. Once I came out, Jung Hee-won and Lee Hyun-sung were waiting for me. We are ready. When will we go? Please wait a moment. I looked towards the men who were heading towards me. Did you sleep well? Last night, I decided to have all members of Dongmyo join my group. The 2 men in front of me was the result of that decision. Jung Min-sob bowed to me and opened his mouth. Please keep me alive. Me too, me too. Sob. Originally I planned to kill Lee Sung-kirk and Jung Min-sob, but I changed my mind. These 2 were useful until I completely wiped out the prophets. I put them in the Chungmuro group and evolved the color of the flag to brown. From the brown flag, it became possible to restrict the actions of the group members. You have exercised the right of the representative. Group members Lee Sung-kirk and Jung Min-sob have restrictions on their behavior. Lee Sung-kirk and Jung Min-sob's expression changed at the emerging system messages. 1. From now on, you can't tell others about my identity. Yes, yep. 2. You must unconditionally submit to my commands and you aren't allowed to act individually without my permission. Of course. Group members Lee Sung-kirk and Jung Min-sob are willing to accept their limitations. This restriction is a life restriction. If they break the restrictions, group members Lee Sung-kirk and Jung Min-sob will die. I nodded and said, well, okay. I don't know when my heart will change, but everyone work hard. I will decide while watching you. The 2 of them gulped and made hilarious faces. I didn't know what they were thinking. In any case, they wouldn't have been able to stick to Yo Jong-hyuk, so it was better to stick to me. By the way, Representative Nim. What should we call you in the future? Call me like you are now. But call me Yo Jong-hyuk in front of the other prophets. Ah, Jung Min-sob. Yep. Give me the fugitive's mask. Jung Min-sob was upset but eventually gave it to me. Anyway, I had to pretend to be Yo Jong-hyuk if I wanted to go to the Night of the Prophets. This mask would be a preventive measure for a situation I didn't know. After a moment, the muscles on my face moved in a bizarre manner as my appearance started changing. It felt a bit weird but I soon got used to it. This is the real appearance of Yo Jong-hyuk. Very handsome. The revelation wasn't wrong. These bastards. I wanted to snap out but I closed my mouth. I didn't need to be angry over something like this. That reminded me, it would be better to know the details of these guys just in case. Jung Min-sob, what is your attribute? At this moment, a system message flashed in my head. The history of this person has been updated. What? I tried to use character list once again as a test. Character information. Name, Jung Min-sob. Age, 25 years old. Constellation support, Cursed Gladiator. Private attribute, light projection, rare, 1089th person to get off, general. Exclusive skills, sword training LV2, powerful blow LV2, berserk LV3, memory enhancement LV5. Stigma, repay grudges LV 1. Overall stats, physique LV 18, strength LV 16, agility LV 12, magic power LV 10. Overall evaluation, an incarnation that possesses good comprehensive skills and attributes. His sponsor is a bit lacking, but his ability as a warrior is considerable. He would have been one of the 12 apostles if he had been a bit more patient. He is very regretful. What did it mean that the character list was updated? A person I wasn't able to see the attributes window of yesterday suddenly became a character. He was a prophet. In other words, a character outside the novel. Why did he suddenly change into a character? Oh, my attribute is... No need. Yes. I also confirmed the attributes of Lee Sung-kook. Fortunately, his attributes were the same. Hypnotist and ninth person to get off. The latter was garbage, but the former was a pretty good attribute. Give me your smartphone. Yep. Here it is. I received a smartphone from one of them and connected to the chat room. The internet didn't work. Yesterday it was disconnected. The character Han Dong-hoon used Wide Area Internet LV5 on your smartphone. The device's internet is now available. As soon as I thought it, the internet was connected. I glanced towards the tent where Han Dong-hoon was located. There was a vibration from the smartphone, indicating that a message had arrived. I'm going to believe in you just once. Maybe something changed with Han Dong-hoon after what happened last night. I had been really worried about it, so I was glad. I sent a reply to Han Dong-hoon. Thank you. Sooner or later, I would have a chance to talk to him. I once again opened Lee Sung-kook's smartphone to the Prophet's chat room. Chat room. List of participants. Number 9, 15 I feel like dying, 124 let's drop off, number 763, 887 get off, number 645, a total of 36 people. I looked at the numbers in their names and got a sense of who they were. But something was strange. 36 people? Jung Min-sob answered my question. All the prophets in the room stopped reading early. There are no apostles. I see. By the way, Representative Nim. Didn't you say it yesterday? You should have read to the end, then do you know all of the Book of Revelation? I looked at the expectant Jung Min-sob and laughed. I knew. Do you know? You won't regret taking my line instead of Yo Jong-hyuk's. After a while, we headed to Anguk Station while avoiding the surrounding conflict areas. It was because the Night of the Prophets was scheduled to be held. I spied on these guys through Lee Sung-kook's smartphone. Number 519, really? Yo Jong-hyuk is coming this evening? Number 67, there is no doubt. Number 9 and number 1089 said it yesterday. 887 get off. The 9th is a newcomer, but I can believe it if it is the 1089th. 124 let's drop off. This time they will all be behind us. 887 get off. Number 124, you are in Seoul, how can those jerks fall behind you? 124 let's drop off. Except for me of course. Local residents, Victory V. 887 get off. I would like to be a regressor. If I had read the novel at that time. No, if I had only read up to 50. I'm jealous of those apostles scum. 15 I feel like dying. But don't you think the people who read over 50 chapters are abnormal? I don't know how they read to over 50. 124 let's drop off. Real psycho. As expected, humans who hid behind anonymity would reveal the truth. Perhaps the number before the nickname was where they stopped reading. Number 888, but are you sure there is no text version of this novel? Number 124, a few days ago, I searched the internet and there was really nothing left. A novel without a text. Tears. Number 763, even if you had a copy, you wouldn't share such a fraudulent thing. If I could really sell my soul, I would buy it. The idea of trying to read Ways of Survival popped up. These guys, they should have read it with me at that time. Now they didn't know the days ahead. We've arrived. I was about to say, what, already? when I saw the platform of Angak station in front of me. The prophets who arrived in advance could also be seen. But something was strange. Nobody has occupied this place. Yes, it is a promise between the prophets. It could be dangerous to meet at an occupied station. It is sort of like the DMZ. Then a prophet approached and waved. Hey, number 1089. Oh, it is number 763 Hyung. Jung Minsob waved and welcomed the person. How have you been? Your face doesn't look good. Well spotted. The tyrant kill is giving me hell. I told you not to advance towards the Dobong side. Why didn't you listen? Number 763 glanced towards me and his face suddenly stiffened. Perhaps, he is? Jung Minsob nodded. Number 763's eyes showed astonishment. It is really an honor. Yo Jong Hyuk Nim. The uproar caused the scattered prophets to gather one by one. Is that? The prophets ran together and pushed in front of me. There were also a few female prophets. He looks better than I imagined. I am number 998. It is great to meet you, Yo Jong Hyuk Nim. I'm number 1055. I felt like a real king. Their shining eyes wanted to win my favor somehow. I wondered what they would all look like when they realized I wasn't really Yo Jong Hyuk. Most of them weren't worth paying attention to. Their knowledge of the future was dim and their abilities were poor. Yet there were some prominent people. It was very impressive when you fought against Demon King Asmodeus in the second regression. Ho? It was mentioned briefly in the Book of Revelations. Now that I've met Yo Jong Hyuk Nim, I feel like hearing about it from you. Ways of Survival started with Yo Jong Hyuk's third regression, and all the stories from the second regression were treated as recollections. Yet this guy knew about Asmodeus? Why was he so impressed when he didn't read until the end? Who are you? I am number 1168. Then he almost read to the 50th chapter. Perhaps he was the one who read the most out of those present. Number 1168 asked me, "Excuse me, is it Yo Jong Hyuk Nim's third turn right now?" That's right. As expected. Some prophets had dark expressions. Yes, I knew. Ways of Survival was an infinite loop, so those who discovered that it was early on in Yo Jong Hyuk's regressions would be quite disappointed. These jerks, they only got the cute side of Yo Jong Hyuk in the beginning. In any case, those who didn't read until the end weren't satisfied. Then there was a disturbance behind me. Lee Hyun Sung Nim. Steel Sword Lee Hyun Sung? Lee Hyun Sung blushed as he was surrounded by people. What are you doing? I'm not the steel. I'm not that. Wow, just like a real revelation. Look at those biceps. Oh, so taut. Lee Hyun Sung had a good-looking face and was quite popular among the female prophets. At that time, one passing prophet showed interest in Jung Hee-won. Excuse, perhaps, are you Maritime Admiral Lee Ji-hai? No. Then are you? I am Jung Hee-won. Why? I see. The disappointed prophet moved past Jung Hee-won towards Lee Hyun Sung. Jung Hee-won looked at the situation and spoke to me in group chat. Why isn't anyone interested in me? Hyun-sai isn't famous in the future. Che. So do well from now on. I turned away from the miserable Jung Hee-won. I came to the Night of the Prophets for a reason. I couldn't waste time talking like this. Where is the weapon? Here. The weapon you have hidden. I will check it first. Here it is. The 763th prophet excitedly moved to the center of the platform and removed the cloth covering something. There was a big stone present. I remembered the moment I saw the meteor shower on the roof of the theater. No, wait a minute. Is that a meteorite? Haha, that's right. At this point, Yo Jong Hyuk Nim might not know, according to the Book of Revelation, it contained a powerful weapon. A weapon? Yes. That's correct. Maybe it is a weapon like a top-ranking star relic. Doesn't the meteorite need hatching time and can't be used now? Haha, We have a rotation that will provide magic power. It will hatch tonight at the latest. We have been working on it for a few days. I became colder as I looked at this proud bastard. A red pattern. It was nonsense. This thing shouldn't be known until at least the 4th regression? Which bastard gave you the information? Here. That person who brought the meteorite to you. Oh, that. Number 1124, he was the first one. Number 1124? A person who stopped reading early on knew this information? Where is he? Jung Min-sob looked around the place and muttered. I guess he hasn't come yet. The informant didn't come. I thought for a moment before opening my mouth. We have to get out of here. It was a trap. Here. Right now. This was the first time I got a cold sweat since Ways of Survival became a reality and since meeting Yo Jong-hyuk the first time. This was a weapon? Who was stupid enough to think like this? I glanced around at the prophet staring at me with naive eyes. Then the platform started vibrating. Kukukung. I looked at the trembling meteorite and stepped back. I had come here to sweep away the prophets, only to be the one swept away. What is this? Jung Min-sob made a stupid noise. Damn it. The 4th scenario hadn't even ended and the disaster of the 5th scenario was about to appear. I shouted toward Jung Hee-won and Lee Hyun-sung. Run away. This was why I couldn't trust those who didn't read to the end. Due to these damn people who got off early, today became all wrong. Chapter 52, Episode 11, Night of the Prophets, 4. A red aura appeared around the meteorite and glowing lights shot all over the platform. Oh! Finally! A prophet screamed. Jung Hee-won and Lee Hyun-sung quickly approached me. Run away? What? It was too late. The red aura spread across the platform and a faint veil surrounded the station. Now none of the prophets would be able to leave Anguk Station. The constellations protest against the excessive filtering. Many constellations' eyes are shining at the omen. The constellation prisoner of the golden headband is watching the situation with curious eyes. The constellation's secretive plotter is expecting your brilliant strategy. The constellations were excited and sent me indirect messages. The most dangerous situation in the world of Ways of Survival was one where the constellations were partying. I asked the nervous Jung Min-sob, was number 1124 the one who suggested that you gather here today? Here? I don't know. We all agreed together. I felt clogged up, like someone had fed me 10 sweet potatoes. I couldn't believe things had gone this far. Everybody moved behind me. I paid attention to the meteorite while protecting them. Aren't we running away? We can't go. If you look behind, you can see a ward. Here? What ward? I didn't answer as I stared at the meteorite in the center of the platform. Meteorite was the main event in the 5th scenario. The danger sleeping inside the meteorite would differ depending on the color, brightness, size, and type. However, the meteorite I was looking at now was one that should never hatch. They seemed confused because the meteorite that gave the star relic in the 3rd regression was bright red. I wonder what star relic will appear. That. Some prophets hadn't noticed yet and touched the meteorite. An omen of the 5th main scenario has appeared. Then the message popped up. Eh? What is this? Why suddenly the main scenario? The surface of the meteorite cracked and a red light poured out. The first thing the light touched was the prophet staring at the meteorite with wonder. The body of the prophet who lost his head slowly fell to the ground like a broken doll. What is going on? The prophet screamed and retreated, but they were already unable to escape the crisis. I took the party with me as I retreated to the edge and observed the situation. I remembered seeing this type of meteorite in Ways of Survival, but it was tricky to know what would come out. Please, don't let it be that disaster. The meteorite cracked and red lava poured out. The surrounding platform burned and released a bad smell. Then the temperature of the air rose rapidly and breathing became painful. The surrounding environment was changing. This, a lava zone? It meant the 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, has appeared. Fuck. What? The star relic? Several confused prophets belatedly used skills. However, the meteorite stretched out a long tail and caught a few escaping prophets. Kuwak! The body of the prophet that caught by the tail suddenly burned up. Some prophets used skills to attack the tail, but their weapons started to melt. This monster. The meteorite was at most 2 meters in length, but the monster crawling out from the gap was over 5 meters long. Jung Hee-won asked, "What the hell is this?" It is a disaster. Disaster? The remainder of the meteorite split apart and a dragon species entered this dimension. Ku-u! A violent dragon that was just born. Despite being a deteriorated version of a hatchling, a dragon still reigned at the apex of all monsters. A 6th grade monster could wipe out all the prophets here, and this was a 5th grade fire dragon. Yo Jung-hyuk Nim. Some of the prophets called out to me and all attention was still focused this way. I frowned. The incident was caused by them, yet they wanted me to solve it? Get back to the edges. Like an obedient puppy, everyone moved to a corner of the platform. The guys who were quick were already running upstairs from the platform. But shit, there's a ward. The lesser dragon was a disaster. In a situation where a disaster appeared, the size of the despair was different. At least, this was the pattern I knew. Among Yo Jong-hyuk's numerous regressions, he had definitely faced this guy. I looked at the party members. A hidden scenario will soon start. Hidden scenario? This is a guy who shouldn't have come out in the 4th scenario. It has an unusual difficulty, so there will soon be an intervention. In order to respond to this disaster, various benefits were needed in the 5th scenario. For example, if the blue meteorite came out. But now we had nothing. Yes, something had to be given to balance us. Some constellations are complaining about the unusual scenario difficulty. Indeed. The next moment, sparks flew in the air and a small childlike presence appearance. It wasn't a low-grade dokibi like Bihyum. He wore a tidy suit with 2 little horns on his head. He was an impressive guy with a small lump protruding from his side pocket. I didn't know his name, but I knew what he was. He was an intermediate dokibi. HMM. This is difficult. How did you guys get this route? It was only installed recently. Once his voice rang out, the movements of the lesser dragon stopped. Indeed, it was possible for an intermediate dokibi to intervene in the scenario to this level. A disaster woke up in the 4th scenario? The emergence of an intermediate dokibi meant that the early scenarios had almost come to an end. As long as he took notice of this place, I would barely be able to see the contract benefits with Bihyum. Some constellations are poisonous, so I can't spare you. It is also hard to downgrade the difficulty. His gaze focused on me. But this isn't right. We haven't cleared the 4th scenario. One prophet shouted. I could see the prophets around him quickly covering his mouth. There was nothing good about yelling at a dokibi right now. I have decided. I won't downgrade the difficulty. The prophets glared at the dokibi. There was only the sound of breathing. They had read Ways of Survival, so they would know. The dokibi couldn't overturn the laws. But they also knew this. Still, it won't be interesting if you all die this way. I will use my discretion to change the scenario content. The dokibi was more talkative than I thought. The hidden scenario has arrived. The lesser dragon started moving again. The red leather-covered paws hit the floor of the platform. I avoided the scattered debris and looked at the scenario that arrived. Hidden scenario, united you die, scattered you die. Category, hidden. Difficulty, A. Clear conditions, within the time limit, hunt down the lesser dragon Igneal, or survive his attacks. Time limit, 20 minutes. Compensation, 3,000 coins. Failure, death. Hidden pieces are hidden in this mission. A 20-minute survival mission. From the title to the contents, it was ridiculous. Lee Hyun-sung asked. Do we have to hunt him? No, don't even dream about it. This disaster is a disaster for a reason. Even the real Yo Jong-hyuk couldn't catch a 5th grade fire dragon. I looked at the situation on the platform. Flowing flames started pouring out. Caw 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 caw. Kuwak. The prophets caught in the flames turned to ashes. The walls burned by the flames melted and distorted terribly. He was slowly moving to this side. Everyone run counterclockwise. I opened my mouth and ran ahead of the rotation direction. Fortunately, Jung Hee-won and Lee Hyun-sung followed me well. Jung Min-sub and Lee Sung-kook were a bit behind, but they still seemed okay. This time, we avoided it because I knew the pattern. The problem was that this type of attack wouldn't always occur. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneel, is preparing the flames of destruction. It had started. We somehow avoided the general attack, but the crisis came now. Look for a foothold. Yes. Number 5, or 2 and 3. Anyway, just quickly find something that adds up to 5. A hidden piece is activated. Numerical footholds are activated. Once the appropriate number of people enters the foothold, Absolute Shield can be activated in 10 seconds. Absolute Shield won't activate when the number on the foothold is exceeded. The prophets all heard this system message. At the same time, footholds the size of 2 pyong appeared all over the station. Footholds? Ah, right. There is a hidden piece. I looked at the moving prophets and bit my lips. The giggling constellations reflected in my eyes. Why did many constellations protest against the difficulty of the scenario? It was simple. There was no fun in a story with only death. They didn't want ants being trampled by a giant. These guys wanted the ants to fight back to survive. In order to live, the ants would even bit at their kin. Many constellations are watching the situation with excited eyes. Damn constellation scum. Shit, go. Kuhyuk. The prophets, who had called each other's numbers in a friendly manner, now wielded their weapons against each other to fight over the footholds with the number 1. Some prophets collapsed bleeding as they approached a foothold. The swift prophets were already stepping on the footholds, strengthening their alertness. I kept an eye on them. Someone had clearly planned this trap. Maybe they were the apostles. They knew the prophets would gather her and decided to use this opportunity to wipe out those who stopped reading early. It was a good idea. No matter how trivial the information, the fewer who knew the future, the better. Usually, the apostles would be laughing at the prophets from far away. If they were ordinary people. Those who read more than 50 chapters of a boring novel weren't normal. They called themselves apostles and were greedy enough to control information. If they were intelligent enough to use the red meteor as a trap, wouldn't they know how to overcome the disaster? If I was like this. Representative Nim. There is no foothold. There is nothing here. Jung Hee-won and Jung Min-sub cried out urgently. There were no footholds in the place where Out Party was located. Oh, there is one here. But the foothold that was barely found had an ominous number. 4. In other words, only 4 people could survive on that foothold. But our party had 5 people. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneel, is using the flames of destruction. A huge spark started from the center of the platform and started to spread throughout the station. It was a lesser dragon's full attack skill. The heat was enough to burn my skin despite being so far away. If the shield wasn't activated now, my party would be destroyed. Our representative Nim. Lee Sung-kook and Jung Min-sub trembled as they met my gaze. I grasped the handle of unbroken faith. At that moment, Yo Jong-hyuk Nim. I looked back and saw one prophet. The number 2 was written on his foothold. Despite the urgent situation, this man still looked relaxed. Come this way. This guy? A few memories passed by quickly. I ran towards him while shouting at the people behind him. Activate the shield. Absolute Shield is activated. Kuu. Then the flames burned everything on the platform. If it had touched me just a little bit, then I would have melted. Sigh. I'm glad. The man who triggered the shield at breathtaking timing sighed with relief. I asked him, "Who are you?" The man laughed lightly. I'm disappointed. Have you already forgotten? I am number 1168. About Asmodeus. I remembered. He was the one who spoke to me about Demon King Asmodeus. That isn't my question. The eyes of number 1168 shook. I hadn't thought about it before. The scene of the confrontation between Demon King Asmodeus and Yo Jong-hyuk. To be precise, the second regression Yo Jong-hyuk was one-sidedly beaten by the Demon King. It was a scene I remembered because I really liked it. However, this recollection didn't appear before chapter 50. I could say it with certainty as the full reader of Ways of Survival. I pulled out my blade and opened my mouth. I will ask you again. Who are you? Due to the effect of your exclusive attribute, the memory effect of some scenes have increased. The story of Demon King Asmodeus appeared exactly in chapter 57 of Ways of Survival. A crack started to spread in this man's relaxed expression. Chapter 53, Episode 11, Night of the Prophets, 5. The self-styled number 1168 looked at the flames beyond the shield and asked, "My identity? What are you talking about suddenly? Have you forgotten? I have sage size. In fact, this guy's information wasn't available to me. The exclusive skill, character list is activated. The information of this person can't be read in character list. This person isn't registered in character list." What was the difference between an updated person and a non-updated person? I still didn't know the exact reason why. But whatever the reason was, deceiving this person wasn't difficult. It was because he believed I was Yo Jong-hyuk. I didn't think Yo Jong-hyuk-nim would notice. You are an apostle. Right? That's right. You already knew it. The fact that he said it so easily meant there were ulterior motives. This is a trap. Is it because of the butterfly effect? Haha, that's right. I wondered if my words were funny as number 1168 smiled and looked at the other people around. If there are a lot of flying butterflies, unnecessary storms will happen. The prophets who couldn't find a foothold were melting like moths in the midst of the flames. The terrible screams and the information they knew disappeared into dust. It was the price they paid for trying to obtain a star relic without the proper information. You are killing the larvae before they become butterflies. The larvae that are about to become pupa are the easiest to kill. The fierce heat died down and the chemical reactions in the surrounding area were subsiding. The absolute shield was soon turned off. After 1 minute, the positions of the footholds will be recreated. The hidden scenario would end when footholds appeared 10 times and they survived the attacks. We had just passed one, so there were 9 left. I tried pressing against the shield with my feet. The heat was high, but it was enough to endure. Representative Nim. I waved my hand to stop those running from afar. Now wasn't the time to take care of them. The attack patterns are familiar, so please learn them and avoid them on your own. I can't take care of you right now. The party members noticed something strange and stopped moving. In a situation where the power of the apostles wasn't clear, it was dangerous to drag them with me. Number 1168 looked at me and said, "This isn't like what I saw in the Book of Revelations. Is this really your third regression?" Shut up. Where did you get off? HMM? You would know if you checked it yourself. I like a person who is the same on the outside. I can't make a deal with a person who has 2 different sides. The apostle's eyes widened. How interesting. There must be a reason why you would so easily identify yourself. The tail of the lesser dragon flew through the air and struck the spot where we were. It was easy for me to avoid it with my over level 30 agility. However, number 1168's astute movements were amazing. I triggered calm observation that I got from Theater Dungeon. It was a skill I saved for those who character list didn't work on. His perspiration, speed, breathing interval. The sum of his physical body stats was around 49/50. It was a significant level among the prophets I had seen. I moved behind him and he opened his mouth. I'll formally greet you. I'm number 1195. Among the apostles, I am the fifth apostle. The number of views for Ways of Survival's first chapter was 1,200. If he was 1,195, he was among the top 5 of the latest people to stop reading. Then he knew about the red meteorite. What is your purpose? Do you also need my help? Who? To save Yo Jonghyuknim, what would you say to that? It is more plausible than the lie about mosquitoes becoming butterflies. Indeed, you have lie detection. He licked his dry lips. Should I do it now? No. A little bit more. Just listen a bit more. However, I'm not lying about my desire to save Yo Jonghyuknim. Things would be difficult if you die here. The revelations will be greatly ruined. You knew I was coming. We discovered it a few hours ago. Therefore, we hurriedly revised the plan. There were sparks and a few more prophets near us died. There were still those who were hanging on. It was like they knew the patterns of the lesser dragon. I kept an eye on those people. Originally, we had no plans to participate. If only Yo Jonghyuknim wasn't here. So? Don't you already know the answer? The positions of the footholds will be created. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneel, is preparing the flames of destruction. My party members successful found footholds this time. The apostle and I also found a foothold that fit 2 people. To be precise, the apostle tossed the person already occupying it out with force. The drops of blood landed on the brutal apostle. He wiped it off and said, "We have to slay the lesser dragon." Coo 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 coo. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneel, is using the flames of destruction. The absolute shield activated and once again blocked the flames. Coo. Only 2 stages had occurred, but there were less than a quarter prophets remaining. The party members had been keeping pace, but it was uncertain how long they would last. A hidden peace penalty has occurred. The number of footholds created in the next turn will be reduced. I spoke with narrowed eyes, with your power alone. It is possible. I have prepared enough. I felt uneasy as I heard his confident voice. That reminded me, he was shedding a single drop of sweat in this heat. A bluish chill spread over his skin. This was... I see. Their preparations were outstanding. It is the ice pill. That's right. A pill that had a certain probability of appearing when a 7th grade elemental species was hunted in the Gangseojiu area stations. They already managed to get their hands on this pill. It would release a powerful ice attribute for at least 30 minutes. In other words, they had a foundation to hurt the lesser dragon. The problem was the attack power. It is impossible with you alone. Who said I was alone? I looked at the survivors. There were a few people I was particularly keeping an eye on. I looked closer and saw that their bodies were covered with a bluish chill. Who? How can I come here alone? I counted and there were 5 of them. They had committed half their power for this operation. The 5 apostles must have confidence after eating the 5 ice pills. But a few more people won't make a big difference. That's why I am seeking help. I will give an ice pill to Yo Jonghyuknim if you decide to help us. If I refuse, all of Yo Jonghyuknim's party members here will die. Do you think you will be safe like that? Even if we can't take care of the lesser dragon, we can at least take care of our bodies. He was brimming with confidence. They would have already lost their heads if I was the real Yo Jonghyuk. Do you think I am worried about my party members? People die anyway. I can gather other people. I raised unbroken faith to his neck. Then he shook his head. Who? You are truly like the revelations. But you better think carefully. What do you mean? By now, Yo Jonghyuknim's main base would have entered our hands. What? Maritime Admiral Lee Ji-hai, a child who uses strange abilities. And one of the 10 evils. It is different from the original revelation, but you have made a fairly good party. If they all die, won't your Jonghyuknim face problems starting again? They had already investigated up to here. These bastards. Won't it be worse if we take away Chungnyeoro Station? Right now, it is just a proposal. But don't think this proposal will last forever. Our group has already completed the King's Road scenario by taking over 10 stations. You should know the gap between a group with a king and a group without a king. Perhaps the situation would already be over by now. The king will be waiting for Yo Jonghyuknim's choice in front of Chungnyeoro's flag holder. I see. I knew their plan. These guys, they planned to hit Chungnyeoro from the moment they received information I was coming to the Night of the Prophets. If you pledge to join us, we will promise the safety of your party as well as our full support in the future. This is a promise on the king's honor. My heart was pounding from the precise threat. They were actually this bold against Yo Jonghyuk. It was rare to find this in someone who read ways of survival. Who is your king? Where did they get off? The king dislikes being called someone who got off. So what do you call them? Even if you are Yo Jonghyuknim, please refrain from speaking about him like that. He is the only one among the prophets who has read all the revelations. He knows both Yo Jonghyuk's past and future. What? I was surprised for a moment but didn't greatly panic. This was interesting. There was another reader who read all of the novel? Laughter emerged. It was a ridiculing laugh. It was because there absolutely couldn't be such a thing. Coup! Finally, the third attack of the fire dragon was about to begin. I looked at the apostle and quietly stepped out of the foothold. The bewildered apostle asked as I walked forward. Yo Jonghyuknim? What are you doing? The party members far away were also surprised. I waved my hands. Don't worry. No matter what happens, you absolutely can't move from there. Understood? I walked in the direction of the lesser dragon. It was with slow but sure steps. The fire dragon stared ferociously at me as it prepared the flames of destruction. What are you doing? Come back! The apostle behind me hastily exclaimed. I turned around and smiled at him. Did the king tell you about this future? As I listened to him, I kept thinking. These guys shouldn't be alive. But they had a strategy and I couldn't kill them all by myself. If so, I laughed and continued talking. You guys, have you forgotten what my stigma is? If I was them, what would they fear the most right now? I'm not afraid of death. I can just start over again. The answer was simple. They believed I was Yo Jonghyuk. If that was the case, I wonder, what will the effect be on you? You are unusual presences in this turn. The most fearful thing to them was what I feared most. If I die here, will you exist in the next turn? Or will you end with this world? They didn't want Yo Jonghyuk to die. If you really read the revelations, you should know the answer right. The apostles' faces paled. There were times when it was easier to handle those who used their heads. Yo Jonghyuk! The 5 apostles moved from the footholds and started to run towards me. I knew it. No matter how unconcerned they pretended to be, they were people who got off and were caught up in this scenario. What would happen to them in a world where the protagonist was dead? They didn't know. Catch him quickly. Just like me. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, is using the flames of destruction. The moment that flames burst out from the center of the platform, I exploded all the strength in my muscles and ran towards the legs of the dragon. Then I put my flag into the flag holder of Anguk Station located there. You have occupied Anguk Station. Currently occupied, Chungnyeoro, Main Base, Myeongdong, Dongdaemun History and Culture Park, Dongdaemun, Dongmyo, Sindang Station, Cheonggu Station, Yaksu Station, Sinseoldong Station, Anguk Station. The achievement points of the brown flag are rising. You have occupied 10 stations. The hidden scenario, King's Road, has been achieved. Depending on the path you walk, you will receive a new king attribute. King of arrogance and hypocrisy, king of solitude and taste, king of no killing times. I replied without reading the rising options. King of no killing. The new attribute, King of no killing, has been obtained. This was enough. I hadn't wanted to do this, but it was necessary to get rid of the people here. The apostles discovered the flames and hurried back to the footholds. However, it was already too late. You should have been careful. You only have one life. The wave of flames covered them. It was an attack that couldn't be endured even if they ate the ice pill. The durability of the external enhanced suit has decreased dramatically. The durability of the external enhanced suit has run out. My vision soon became dim. There was the feeling of flesh being burnt and I lost consciousness. You have died. A moment later, a system message was heard. The privilege of the King of No Killing is activated. Chapter 54, Episode 12, First-Person Protagonist's Point of View, 1. One of the most painful deaths in the world was burning to death, and I had just experienced it. The neurons in my brain seemed to emit light at once. The exclusive skill Fourth Wall has attenuated the mental pain. The pain was slowly reduced. It was once again the fourth wall. I always felt strange when I escaped from trouble with the help of this skill. Ways of survival had become a reality and I was living in it. Then, what was this wall that I felt every time? Times. No, these thoughts were futile. I was safe thanks to the attribute King of No Killing, and had to move again. It was an attribute that could be gained only when the conditions of King of No Killing was met. Unlike its name, the privilege of the attribute was more like immortality than no death. It was conditional, but in any case, I would soon return to my flesh. At least that was what I thought. Due to a conflict error with your exclusive skill, the privilege of King of No Killing would be delayed. Hey? A skill conflict error? Thanks to your death, your consciousness has been completely liberated from the constraints of your body. Exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 3 has been activated. I was overcome with a dizzy feeling. No, wait a minute. What was happening this time? Damn, if only it wasn't him. The dizziness flooded in and my vision brightened. Then I was watching a scene. Gong Pildu licked his lips as he observed the people around the platform. Now he couldn't run away. He thought about it, but he knew better than anyone that he didn't have the courage to do so. Dr. Hyung. There was a weight pressing against his knee and Gong Pildu looked down. It was a boy around 10 years or so. There was a boy sleeping on his thigh. Why am I like this? Gong Pildu wondered as he looked down at the sleepy Lee Gil-young. His old memories surfaced. A young child. Lee Gil-young was his daughter's age. He shook his head and sighed. Pildu-sai, we should stop now. Daddy, how long are you going to keep talking about land? There was a time when he was the breadwinner of the family. He earned money to feed his family and buy land. If he was lucky, he would become a landlord and then get tenants. Finally, he became a big investor in Chungmuro, but it didn't take long to find out that he couldn't keep his small family. Isn't this surprisingly okay? You get along well with people. He looked up to see a beauty with a nice face. Yo Sanga. 2 days ago, this woman had become the deputy of Chungmuro. Quickly stop talking nonsense. You were smiling just now. Gong Pildu made a look of distaste. Yo Sanga sat down hesitantly next to Gong Pildu. Ajusi, how many times did you buy land? What? When I look at the people in the Landlord Alliance, only you are the one with the landowner attribute. It isn't good to have a lot of land. It needs to be good land. You are naive. Then what is good land? Expensive land is good land. What type of land is expensive? It is land that many people want. Was your land like that? Yes. It wasn't land that he wanted. Gong Pildu looked into Yo Sanga's eyes. This woman's curiosity had an oddly sharp corner. She was smiling on the outside, but he couldn't help feeling uncomfortable. "Do duck. Duck. Duck." Then a sound was heard in the distance. Yo Sangara's expression hardened while Lee Gil-young woke up in a flash from where he was sleeping on Gong Pildu's knees. The antennae of the cockroach on his back shook. Coo 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 coo. Line 4, the tunnel from Hoyeng. Something was coming this way. Yo Sangha stood up while Gong Pildu used a skill. The character Gong Pildu has activated Armed Zone LV8. Gong Pildu bit his lips. This might be an intuition only rich landowners got. There was something like that. Hey! Huddle up! It was the feeling of someone trying to take away his land. Do. Gong Pildu turrets fired all at once into the darkness and something fell. They were ground rats. The enemy! Gather around Gong Pildusai. We will go with the large-scale exercise we practiced in the morning. Yo Sangha called out and the people scattered on the platform ran. Group A is near the turrets, Group B will be at the center of the gunfire and Group C will be protecting Gong Pildusai. The people moved in the orderly ranks that they had practiced in advance. The ground rats collapsed due to the people's quick response. It was much easier than when emergency defense was taking place. As the dozens of ground rats collapsed on the ground, the same thought entered the minds of the Chungnuro members. It was easy. It truly was worth everyone cooperating. Then they heard a voice from the tunnel. As expected, Haimlin's flute isn't enough. How can the 9th grade species compare to a place eaten by Yo Jonghyuk? A group of people appeared from the darkness. 4 men and 1 woman. Gong Pildu's expression hardened. He didn't know the reason. However, one thing was for certain. These guys were different from the ones they had dealt with so far. Damn it, quickly call the samurai girl. I am already here. There was a cold feeling as Lee Ji-hai came down from where she had been. And don't call me a samurai. If you don't want to get beaten up. Despite the grumpy answer, Gong Pildu felt a bit calmer. Lee Ji-hai was a great power. Yet Gong Pildu still felt uneasy. He was anxious and growled like a frightened beast. Who are you? Where did you come from? It is real. The Maritime Admiral and Armed Fortress Master has become a team. It wasn't an answer that came back but words that were close to mocking. Gong Pildu asked, "What nonsense are you saying? Quickly go back. Otherwise I will shoot to kill." However, the 5 men and women didn't look at Gong Pildu. They just continued talking to each other. Who is on the dragon side? Numbers 5, 6, 8 and 9. They aren't apostles but they are pretty good. With the exception of the one outside soul, there are 5 of us left. The 5 of us are enough. Quickly sweep them away. The first one who came forward was a man in his 30s with a bulging belly. He was a man with the number 7 on his shoulders. He had thick eyebrows and looked at Lee Ji-hai's white legs like they were to his taste. I will take the Maritime Admiral. She isn't a big deal without the sea. What are you bastards saying? Lee Ji-hai cried out sharply and rushed forward. Gong Pildu realized it couldn't be helped and infused magic power into the turrets. Damn, just go to hell. Do. The man with a 4 on his cloak laughed. As expected from one of the 10 evils. If we came a bit later, we would have been swept away. Numbers 3 and 4. You 2 take Gong Pildu. Be vigilant and attack the turrets one by one. The man with a 3 on his forehead nodded. Yes. I understand. One of the 10 evils can be handled by both of us. Number 2, you handle the rest. The woman with a 2 on her cheek frowned. She was holding a small flute in her hand. Why do I have to handle such petty reason? It is the most appropriate for you. What are you going to do? Then the man with a 1 on the dark cloak opened his mouth. I will be taking the flag holder. The moment of immersion was broken and consciousness returned. Now it all made sense. Omniscient reader's viewpoint. I had a similar experience the last time I was in the ichthyosaur's stomach. At that time, I saw Yo Jonghyuk. By the way, it was amazing. I thought I had prepared for the apostles, but it wasn't enough. I was able to guess their thoroughness just from the items they brought. There was Hamelin's flute that could control the ground rats and the magic power bullet shield that could defend against Gong Pildu's attack. They really wanted to capture Chungmuro, obtain Yo Jonghyuk and devour this world. But it wouldn't be so easy. What? Was the maritime admiral this strong in the beginning? Hey, isn't something wrong? It was the seventh apostle who cried out first. Li Jihai's sharp sword pushed the seventh apostle back little by little. It was natural. The current Li Jihai was much stronger than the Li Jihai in the original third turn. Damn, why are these two turrets so hard? Number 3 and 4 were in trouble. The second apostle playing Hamelin's flute was also struggling due to Yo Sangara's binding thread and Li Giliang's Mjolnir's thunder. In the end, it was the first apostle who came forward. He frowned before pulling something out and lighting it. Then he threw it at the Chungmuro party. Kwang! There was a loud roar and Chungmuro's platform was covered with explosions. I was startled. This son of a bitch? Mass destruction magic bullet. It was hard to deal huge damage to top monsters, but against humans, it was the most powerful weapon of mass destruction. It was a weapon that could be made with some items that appeared in the Gangseo and Gangnam areas, as well as some items bought from the Dokkaebi bag. Then he was the king of the apostles. The purple flag on his back proved it. The dust settled down, revealing the Chungmuro platform. My chest was becoming stuffy. If the apostles had this, then the situation was unfavorable. The dust cleared and the fallen Chungmuro group members were seen. People were coughing up blood. Yo Sangha and Li Giliang were lying on their floor. Even Gong Pildu couldn't completely avoid getting injured despite using protective wall. Phew, now it looks good. Right. The seventh apostle grabbed Li Jihai's head while her uniform was torn. She was in the front and received the biggest blow from the explosion. Aren't you just a supporting actor, here? Bastards, cough. Li Jihai screamed as she was punched in the stomach. Can I have this girl? What will you do with her? There is no time. What will I do? Looking back, isn't she destined to follow the main character and be miserable? Then I would rather. Li Jihai's small body shook in the air like a rag doll. Her lips were trembling. She was staring at me. Impulsive anger filled my head. It was unlike me. Li Jihai was clearly just a character. The exclusive skill, Fourth Wall, is activated. Excessive immersion has restricted some of the features of Fourth Wall. I was too immersed. I became dizzy and nauseous. Excessive immersion leads to a profound increase in the proficiency of Omniscient Reader's viewpoint. Changing your viewpoint to first person. My consciousness narrowed and stretched like a rubber band. Then I opened my eyes. I was really in Chungmuro. How? Li Jihai was looking at me with shaky eyes. It wasn't just her. At this moment, everyone on the platform was watching me. My field of view moved slowly. I walked towards Li Jihai. To be exact, my body was moving regardless of my will. One step, another step. Slowly but steadily, I was closing the distance to her. The seventh apostle frowned and asked, "You are?" I was uncomfortable, like I was wearing clothes that didn't fit my body. The height of my gaze was different from usual as well as my 5 senses. At this moment, I realized who I was. I couldn't help laughing. I disliked it. I really disliked it. Li Jihai's lips moved a little bit. Ah! My hand gripped the hilt of the sword like it was something I had done millions of times. The grip of my fingers was strange. It was natural and beautiful. I was thrilled with the fantastic feeling that I felt for the first time in my life. The blade moved silently. No one could see anything. It went through something. Something was cut off. Something fell to the ground. Some people were shocked while other people's mouths dropped open. The seventh apostle holding onto Li Jihai slowly sank down. Blood gushed from his neck. My hands moved and I caught the falling body of Li Jihai. Ah, ah. I lightly placed Li Jihai down on the platform. I raised my eyes and saw the apostles looking this way. The first one to speak was the third apostle. You, who are you? How funny. It was a stupid question. I slowly opened my mouth. It was like I was this guy from the start. I am Yo Jong-hyuk. The coldest and loneliest voice in the world. The sleeping prince had finally woken up from his deep sleep. And you shall die here. Now Chung Muro would be safe. My consciousness escaped from Yo Jong-hyuk's body and slowly returned to its original body. Exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 3 has been turned off. The skill conflict error is normalized. The delayed privilege of the King of No Killing has reappeared. Your body is resurrected from death. Chapter 55, Episode 12, First-Person Protagonist's Point of View, 2. The recreation of your flesh has begun. Just like falling paint spread out, my vision slowly cleared. The surrounding contrast and saturation were unclear. By bones, capillaries, digestive and respiratory tract, and my whole eyes regenerated. My senses were confused because they still hadn't found their place. In any case, I could rest assured about Chung Muro. No matter how strong the apostles were, they wouldn't be able to defeat Yo Jong-hyuk, who was stronger than the original. By the way, it was a truly unique experience. I shared a first-person point of view with Yo Jong-hyuk. If possible, I didn't want to do it again. The exclusive skill Fourth Wall offsets the mental shock caused by your death. Compensation is being prepared for the Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 3. Usage compensation? I could see Jung Hee-won shouting from afar. Her face was astounded as Lee Hyun-sung held onto her. Jung Min-sub and Lee Sung-kook were in shock when they looked over here. Fortunately, they were all safe. I wasn't too late. Dr. Sai. Jung Hee-won forgot and cried out my name. Kiao. In fact, there was no need to hide it anymore. Air flowed into my newly created lungs. There was still the merciless lesser dragon in the vicinity. As expected from Yo Jong-hyuk Nim. Did he use a divine restoration pill? These cries came from the few prophets who had survived. Of course, I didn't have a divine recovery. Reviving from death was completely different to recovering from a serious wound. The benefits of the King of No Killing has been completed. 100 karma points have been consumed. The wastes of your flesh have been completely removed and the performance of your body has increased. Physique and magic power has increased by 1 each. There was even a resurrection bonus. This was why King of No Killing was a scam. In all of Ways of Survival, Selena Kim of the United States was the only one who obtained this attribute. Current karma points, 0-100. Fill up the points for your next resurrection. 1 karma point will be obtained every time you save someone's life. The privilege of the King of No Killing was resurrection. Of course, it wasn't unconditionally resurrection. Karma points were necessary. It was fortunate that the first resurrection started with 100 points. Kiao. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, is using the flames of destruction. I couldn't die as soon as I revived. Since my points had fallen to 0, the resurrection privilege couldn't be used for a while. I looked around and saw the number 2 written on a foothold. The other people were already standing on a foothold. Hyun Sung-sai, go over there. We'll go to the next one. Lee Hyun-sung rushed towards me at Jung Hee-won's quick judgment. Lee Hyun-sung arrived and opened his mouth while sweating. Dr. Sai, are you okay? Just take a look. I thought my eyes were mistaken for a while. I didn't have time to explain in detail how it was possible. Absolute Shield is activated. The flames of destruction burned in front of my eyes. I spoke to Lee Hyun-sung, who was looking at me like I was Jesus. Hyun Sung-sai, do you have anything for me to wear? A poncho or? I might be a soldier but, Lee Hyun-sung belatedly recognized the situation and looked at my body. The resurrection was good except for one thing. The external suit had melted and most of the items I picked up were destroyed. In other words, I was now naked. "No, that's okay," I muttered. Lee Hyun-sung had raised his hand to his waist and now he returned it to his original position. No matter how strong a person, this sense of sacrifice was too much. In any case, I didn't need clothes but the items that fell. Even the flames of destruction couldn't dissolve star relics or scenario items. In fact, unbroken faith was rolling around the lesser dragon's legs and the brown flag was also on the ground. It was a location where other people couldn't easily pick them up. As soon as the shield was lifted, people started to run from far away. The one who ran first was Jung Hee-won. "Dr. Sai." Jung Hee-won's expression gradually stiffened as she ran towards me. The constellation Abyssal Black Flame Dragon is looking at the Black Flame Dragon. I felt her gaze covering my shoulders and back before she looked away. "I didn't see anything, so don't worry. Is now the time to care about that?" I reflexively shrank back at the words. Then a poncho covered my body. Looking closer, it was a big one. Samyongdang's straw mat. Jung Hee-won handed it over to me. "Thank you, Jung Hyun-sai." I was very thankful to her right now. The constellation Bald General of Justice is a little sad. "Let's move." Kiao. The lesser dragon Igneal's physical movement stage had begun. We once again moved counterclockwise and avoided the attack. Jung Hee-won and Lee Hyun-sung ran ahead of me. They seemed to care about the black flame dragon dangling from my lower body. The straw mat was more uneven than I thought and didn't cover the front. Jung Min-sob ran without noticing and asked, "What now, representative?" "All the apostles have died." As Jung Min-sob said, I didn't see any remaining apostles. The proof was that their ice pills were rolling around the areas where they died. They were items with a long digestion time and didn't melt in the flames. A dragon's paw flew through the air. Kayak! 2 prophets running behind the party were crushed. I ran to the center of the platform and grabbed Unbroken Faith and the brown flag. "You have recovered the brown flag. You can use the flag's abilities." I looked around and it was only my party members remaining. As I was thinking, the time for the footholds to be activated had already come. Numerical footholds are activated. Gather! Fortunately, a foothold with the number 5 was activated. The problem was that there was only one active foothold this time. The intermediate Dokibi's voice could be heard in the air. "Ooh, you are still holding up well. But will that luck continue? Next time, the number on the foothold might be 3 or 4. If so, someone in the party would surely die. If it was 6. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, is using the flames of destruction. Absolute shield is activated. We barely made it with 10 seconds to spare. I had to think of this as the last time. Phew, this bastard. Dr. Sai, what do we do? Lee Hyun-sung and Jung Hee-won were exhausted. It was natural since they had ran dozens of times in an environment where it was hard to breathe. "I think we should fight. Can we catch it?" "It isn't impossible." I pointed to the ice pills rolling around on the floor. The number was exactly a match for the members of our party. If we ate the items that the apostles prepared, it wasn't impossible to damage the lesser dragon. The question was if we could kill it before the next full attack began. Absolute shield will be released. Run! Pick up the pills that have dropped on the ground. The party members popped out as I yelled. 4,100 coins have been invested in magic power. Magic power LV 16 Magic power LV 25. Your soul is attuned to the world. In order to get rid of the lesser dragon as quickly as possible, I needed to raise my magic power instead of my strength. I picked up an ice pill and swallowed it. The ice property has temporarily opened. 40% ice damage is added. Now the only thing left was to inflict damage. What should I do? There was a limit to charging recklessly. Lee Hyun-sung had great mountain smash but he lacked agility. Jung Hee-won had excellent agility but she lacked a powerful finishing blow. It would be good if we attacked a weak spot. Was it something that Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint could point out? Ah, that reminded me. Exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint is already in use. The compensation for the exclusive skill, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint Stage 3 is available. I used the reward. You have experienced the first-person protagonist's point of view. You can take one of the protagonist's skills. What? I was too puzzled to see the flying paw of the lesser dragon. Jung Hyuon's body pushed against mine and the paw landed where I used to be. Kwang! Why are you freezing? Jung Hyuon cried out, but I couldn't easily answer. I could take one of the protagonist's skills. This meant I could get one of Yo Jonghyuk's skills. Presenting the list of available skills. Aho, I got a choice? Now that I had eaten the ice pill, what if I could get one of Yo Jonghyuk's skills? If I could obtain something like strong self-defense or breaking the sky sword. Please select a skill to acquire. Cold resistance, fire resistance, lie detection. Shit, it was like this. Things couldn't be resolved so easily. I liked lie detection the most among the available skills, but it was useless for me right now. The most useful thing for this situation was fire resistance. Kuu! The lesser dragon roared and breathed out fire. Once this action was over, the flames of destruction phase would being. Let me think. I was a reader. There would be an answer in what I had read. Due to the effect of your exclusive attribute, the memories from the books you have read will increase. The pages flashed in my head. The lesser dragon's articles. There was some information in the 12th, 14th, and 17th regressions. Now these things were given to me. Dr. Sai, quickly. I slowly closed my eyes. Then, cold resistance. I decided. The skill cold resistance is now available to be used. I turned to the others and shouted. Jung Hyuon Sai, Lee Hyansung Sai. Have you eaten your ice pills yet? Give all of them to me. Hey! Lee Sungkook, Jung Minsob. You too. Jung Minsob's eyes widened just as he was about to put the ice pill in his mouth. Quickly. Ah, yes. I quickly received the 4 ice pills. I avoided the flames and poured all of the pills into my mouth. I was certain. This was for the best. You have taken an ice pill. The attribute overlay effect of the ice pill will increase the attribute damage. 200% ice damage is added. The chill of your heart engulfs your entire body. I would have never done this in a normal situation. The ice pill was actually a type of poison. Eating just one would make you feel like you were standing naked in the middle of winter. It meant that I should usually only take one. The exclusive skill Cold Resistance LV5 has protected you. The skill I gained from Yo Jonghyuk started at level 5. Everyone come behind me. I shouted as I held the handle of my sword. Perhaps it was due to the memories when I was Yo Jonghyuk. The feeling I got when I grasped the sword subtly changed. Blade of Faith is activated. Kaing! The special option of Unbroken Faith is activated. The ether property is converted to darkness. The effect of the ice pill will add frost to the ether property. The ether blade became a dark blue. It was due to the overlay of ice and darkness. Twack! The dark blue ether blade started to hit the flames. I exploded all my muscle strength and ran to the lesser dragon. Now it was an all-out battle. The stigma song of the sword has been used. Your sword is filled with the words left by the Duke of Loyalty and Warfare. The buff ability varied according to the verse of the Song of the Sword. Please don't let it be a strange verse. In the night, a god appeared in his dream and said, "You will win big if you do this. Otherwise, you will lose." I wanted a different verse when different colors appeared on the lesser dragon's body. Most of them were green, but there were parts that looked a toxic red. The constellation Maritime War God is supporting your battle. I realized the meaning of the Duke of Loyalty and Warfare. I see. These were the weak points. I ran through the fire and swung my sword at the lesser dragon's head. The first point was pale red. Kaya! It floundered while I cut the Achilles tendon of its hind legs. The second was dark red. Kayak! I jumped to avoid the tail and its paw swung towards me. Peok! The shield effect of the brown flag is activated. The flames couldn't be blocked, but the shield could endure a few ordinary attacks. I ran as it roared and stabbed my blade. Puok! It was at a red light on its chest. Kayak! The lesser dragon started to wince. The shield of the brown flag was instantly destroyed and flames started to gather at its mouth. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, is preparing the flames of destruction. The attack phase was finally starting. Now I had no shield. I used all my magic power and the elongated ether blade struck its chest. I swung and swung again. The explosive ice damage hit its chest. But it still didn't fall. Kua! Just a bit more. Kayak! A bit more. The 5th grade fire dragon species, Lesser Dragon Igneal, is using the flames of destruction. The flames burned in front of me. I would die once they struck me. I could hear the calls of the party members in the distance. I listened to the calls and swung my sword without backing down. I could do it. My calculations weren't wrong. I was a reader. If I had been Yo Jonghyuk. A sharp sense of emotion came as I wielded the sword in a trance. Yo Jonghyuk's sword was invisible and silent. The sensation was strongly embedded in me. I grabbed the hilt with all my strength. I recalled the feeling of that moment with my senses. At least once. If I could emanate even a bit of that one sword. Ku! The sword moved and I heard something burst. It was the sound of flesh exploding. The blood of the lesser dragon soaked my eyes and its body parts flew through the air. After rolling around in the high-temperature dust, I vomited up all the congested parts. I shook my head to regain my vision. I staggered as I barely got up. I was staring into the lesser dragon's eyes. I was taken aback and shook. It seemed that the burning flames of destruction had quietly turned off. The huge eyelids blinked once before it slowly backed away. Kuong! The blade of belief was crying out silently from what it was stabbed into the dragon's heart. You are the first to kill the disaster Lesser Dragon Igneal. You are the first to contribute to clearing the 5th main scenario. An impossible feat has been accomplished. The power slowly went out of my body. There was no power in my clenched fists. I gaped for breath as I sat down. It was a reckless challenge. This time I really almost died. The compensation settlement will take some time due to the impossible achievement. Some low-grade dokibi have requested a plausibility request from the Administration Bureau. The intermediate dokibi was staring down at me quietly. Anyway, now was the time for sweet rewards.